Hey guys, Scott from Performance. Super excited about the X3 diffs. They're heading out the door. We've got customers that are receiving them over the last week or so, which is great. We have one here that's actually heading over to the guys that race in Mexico, Santo Tomas Racing. We've had a few questions about how this works, how that works, what plugs in where. So I'm just going to run through a few of those things so we can answer the questions. So as a recap, these things run a much bigger pinion than comes standard. So this is a much bigger diff. You can see here the difference in the size of the pinion and the pinion shaft. Very small shaft, they snap off here, and they have a very small pinion bearing that collapses and breaks. So there's our pinion, there's the X3 pinion. If you look at the difference in the size between our bearing and the Can-Am bearing, you can see the difference. Our bearing almost fits over the whole pinion, so it's a massive difference in the size here. So that's the one big difference between the X3 diff that we manufacture and the OEM diff. Bigger ring gear, bigger bearings, bigger pinion separation. It's got an oil pump that feeds oil into the front pinion bearings. It's an awesome, great product. But the best thing about it is you don't have to run small front axles in the X3. We've made this differential unique to be able to take an axle from the rear of your Can-Am, so the whole axle plugs directly into the side of the diff, put in the car, slide the axle in, put it together, put the hub on the car. People have asked us, if it takes the rear CV inner, does it take the rear CV outer? How will that fit onto the wheel? What's amazing about the X3 is the front and rear CVs out near the wheel are exactly the same. So the knuckles are the same, the splines are the same, the hubs are the same. So if you want to put one of these diffs into your X3, you install the diff in the middle of the car, and you take your whole rear axle from the rear of your car or a spare one, and we put it into the diff, and that will go into the hub out of the wheel. So we're running the whole rear axle, not just the rear CV. I hope that clears up how that works. Some knuckles will clear the rear CV really well. Some that need a little bit of clearance out of the OEM knuckles, but ZRP, Hess, Fort, and a few other guys that make the knuckles, there's plenty of room to put the rear outer CV into those knuckles. So I hope that explains that. Another couple of questions we've had is about the internal. So obviously this one is a spool, so the left and right CVs are connected 100% together, same as the rear of the Can-Am. So if you want a spool diff, we can provide you the spool diff now. We have a Detroit locker version we're developing, and the internals basically can be changed over. So if you have this differential and you want to convert it to a locker, you can just take the spool out and insert the locker, and that'll turn it into a locker diff. So the locker is going to be available hopefully July, somewhere around there. And guys have actually purchased the diff with the spool with the 100% intention of upgrading the locker at a later time. So you can buy this diff now, put it in the car, get your drive shaft sorted out, get all your wheel travel, modify the drive shaft length and put your uni joint on. And then when the locker comes out, you can upgrade. Just take it apart, put the locker in and do that. So the diff's 4K USA, $4,000 US for the spool, and our locker version will be $5,500. If you want to get the spool now, you can spend the extra $1,500 when we release it, and it'll retrofit in exactly the same price. So if you want to wait, you can wait. If you want to do it now, you can get the diff now.